We are live.
Thank you. If you will, prior to calling the meeting to order, those of you at the dais and others will look at the published agenda. Item 2 and item 3, in my opinion, are reversed, so we will consider that as Scribner's area, and we will get 3 first, 2 following it. Any objection? I'd like to call the meeting of the Lancaster County Board of Zoning Appeals to order and thank all of you for the work that you do, and those of you who take time out of their busy schedules and their life to be in the meetings. We do appreciate you. At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you. And we will have a roll call to the membership, if you don't mind.
Aaron Fender.
Present.
Mark Boland.
Present.
James Falkenberry. Charles Deese.
Present. And we do have a quorum, so the meeting will continue as scheduled. At this time, as state law requires and also our own little laws around here, on the first regular meeting of the new fiscal year, which starts July 1 of every year, this board, along with others, will have election of officers to serve this county and the Board of Zoning Appeals for the next ensuing fiscal year. So at this time, I would ask which of you two ladies are going to do this. Miss April Williams, our director, will take charge of the meeting at this time, and I will vacate the chair.
Thank you. Tonight we will be, as Mr. Deese said, electing officers. First, I will take nominations for the position of chair. I will accept nominations, and then we will ask that person nominated if they're willing to accept the position. Then we will also ask if there are any other nominations. If there are nominations, we will take the winner by a vote. If there are no opposing nominations to the initial nomination, that person will be elected in as your chair. At this time, I would like to open up for nominations for chair, please.
At this time, I would nominate Mr. James Falkenberry as chairman.
Mr. Falkenberry isn't here to accept that position.
But he's vice chair now, so or he was, we'll put it that way. I'm sure that he would be willing to serve if he is.
Okay, that's difficult. Are there any other nominations?
I would like to nominate Mr. Charles Deese as chair.
Okay, Mr. Deese, if elected, would you be willing to take that position?
Best of my ability, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Deese. Okay, so since there are 2 nominations, I would like to do a roll call vote. Well, actually, let's do a show of hands since there's 2 candidates. Everybody interested in electing Mr. Falkenberry, who is not here and is not willing to accept the position at this time, please raise your hand. And everyone for Mr. Deese to act as chair for this year, please raise your hand. Okay, that is a vote for 2. So congratulations, Mr. Deese. You are the new chair. At this time, I would also like to open the nominations for vice chair. It's the same process we will be following. So at this time, I would like to open up nominations for vice chair.
There again, he's not here to represent himself, so I will continue to nominate Mr. James Falkenberry as vice chair.
Okay, so we've nominated Mr. Falkenberry. Would anyone else like to make another nomination? If there are no other nominations, what we can do is postpone the vote for vice chair until the next meeting and do an election at that point. Okay, so if you guys wish to nominate and elect Mr. Falkenberry in absentia, we can take that vote now if there are no other nominations. Okay, everyone interested in electing Mr. Falkenberry in absentia for the position of vice chair, please raise your hands. Okay, that is unanimous. Should at the next meeting or at next contact Mr. Falkenberry not be willing to accept that position, we will have to do another election. Okay, at this time, I will yield the floor back to Mr. Dees, our chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. It's not the most difficult job I ever had, but it's not the easiest one either, so gentlemen, bear with me. I do appreciate the nomination. I do appreciate the vote. And I consider it a vote of confidence. And I do appreciate it more than you know. And thank you, ladies, for the work that you do and the assistance that I get from you, and not only in every meeting, but between meetings and at other times when I have an opportunity to come in. So at this time, I would consider ourselves complete with the election of officers, because I feel reasonably sure that our vice chair will remain. So at this point, I'm going to do something a little bit outside the line and ask if anyone has any comments about the meetings, the membership. Just an opportunity to have some time to say what you feel, how the meetings are going. We're in a new fiscal year, so let's try to make it the best one we ever had. And I do appreciate that. And Mr. Falkenberry as well. At least I knew he wasn't going to be here. I just didn't warn him ahead of time. But does anybody have any comments, any statements that they want to make at this point?
I've got a general comment that has to do with our term limits. Since this board was stood up back in January, it kind of splits the fiscal year. So how do our term limits jive with or work with these elections and so forth?
Term limits are something that are handled outside our purview by council. Your council will, I'm sure, reappoint you, which will be for a new term, and I'm sure Aaron's will also. But we are short one, and I know that Brian will keep Mr. James. We are short one. I understand they've got some applications, but no one has been appointed at this time. And once that person comes online, I mean, the rules are simple. It can't be more than 2 from any district. And right now, the only district that's got 2 is District 3, which is myself and Mr. Bowler. So the other person can basically come from anywhere else in the county. Yes, ma'am.
Let me clarify that it's not each district. The way they drafted the reconstitution of the BZA is the three identified areas in the comprehensive plan. So you have the Panhandle, the Greater, and the Southern Lancaster areas. So it's not specified with districts anymore. It's those areas.
I use the term district even though I was thinking the same.
And then there are two at large?
There are two professional type
One
members.
not here anymore. He resigned. So that one can be from district, I call them District 6, which is the lower part of the county, or from the upper end of the county. The central part of the county is still filled by 2 people. Can't be more than 2 in there. The other one person that we have missing can be from either one of the other 2.
But must have professional experience and background.
Hopefully.
No, it's in the ordinance, they must. And to clarify some of those other options with the term limits, everyone has a staggering term limit on this one. Sherry Simpson, our clerk to council, is responsible for keeping up with those and letting you know. She will let you know ahead of time when your term expires. If you are an officer at that time and you're not reappointed, that office will be vacated and we would have to do a special term election. As Mr. D said, primarily if you're in the middle of a term and you wish to be reappointed, the options are really usually pretty high that happens, unless there's some reason that it's not recommended, which doesn't happen often.
After the few years that I've been around, I've found it to be pretty prevalent. If the council member has someone that's willing to serve, that does the job, they're not going to appoint somebody over them. They're going to keep them as long as they'll stay. So, Ms. Harden, I'm sorry I've kept you standing and waiting.
It's okay. Miss Williams gave the point of view that I was going to give, so yeah, I'm at your leisure.
Okay. Then at this point, do you have anything else you want to offer at this time? I'm fixing to call for a vote. Yes,
We need to approve minutes.
I'm going to right now in a minute. I was waiting on Ms. Hart. She was standing at that microphone. All right. Hearing all of the above and reaching back and picking up the agenda, at this point, we have the minutes for the June 3, 2025 Board of Zoning Appeals meeting, and I would entertain a motion to approve them as written.
Make a motion to approve the June 3rd, 2025 BZA meeting minutes as written.
A second?
I have a motion and a second that the minutes be approved as published. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. All right, now we get down to the good part. It's another session that I'm glad we have. The discussion and ratification of the revised rules of order and procedure. So, Ms. Harden,
Yes, sir.
you have the floor until you're tired.
Thank you, sir. I'll sit down. I wanted to present to you some of the changes about to the original rules and procedures based on the recent changes to the Lancaster County Code. Just to give you a little bit of background, we start with the state code and we go through and make sure that we have met the state code, which is the higher of the two. And then the county council had 2 ordinances, one in 2024 and one 2025, that made amendments to Chapter 2, which is administration of the county and relates to boards and commissions. For the Board of Zoning Appeals, the Board of Zoning Appeals is a body that is required by law, allowed by law when you have a zoning ordinance that needs when you have a zoning ordinance and interpretations are under question, or somebody needs to ask for a variance from those regulations. So if you do that, the state law requires you to have a board that's set up under those state codes. It has a number of members, a number of terms that each member can serve, how they're removed, that they can't share another office, that you have a chairman elected each year, that you have a secretary, which for our purposes is a member of the staff that is assigned to make sure that the processes were followed. And the like. You also have the requirements to have your own rules of procedure. So the rules of procedures that have been in place in previous years were reviewed and were edited prior to this. We were prepared to adopt them when the start of the work began for amending the overall county's code of ordinances for membership meeting, electronic meetings, and the like. So that put this on hold. Now that we have both of those, the staff has looked at the rules and procedures and made further recommendations to bring it all into compliance with the new ordinances as well. If it's okay with you, I'll just go over the changes rather than go through each individual section. Article 2, meetings. We add reference to the cases where there are no cases to be heard and the agenda is limited to review and approval of any set of minutes, any discussion items, or workshop. The board may choose to meet electronically, and I made reference to the section of the county code that talks about how to meet electronically. In the county code, it requires that a quorum needs to be present in the building in order for someone to attend electronically. It goes into other discussions about how to meet and what the applicable ways to meet electronically. For instance, it is not an applicable way to meet under the county's code to have a text meeting or a email meeting. But there does need to be audio, and the meeting input needs to be collected. Section 2, under the agenda, that every meeting will have an agenda. We did not have that plainly stated, so we're going to add that as plainly stated, as well as replicating that from the county code changes. On the next page, under Section 3, voting, we added, other than a typo at the top, we had, for matters pertaining on a vote on minutes, members must have been present at the meeting where the minutes were recorded in order to vote on the minutes for record. These votes may be in electronic format per Section 2 of these rules and procedures, and that Section 2, again, refers back to how you have electronic meetings. There's no changes on the next page under Article 3. The only change under Article 3 is under Section 5, continuances and deferral, which is a grammar change. Then we go to Article 4, hearing procedure. Again, a grammatical or spelling change under equal consideration for all board members. On the next page, under Section 5, evidence, there's another grammatical change. We have already voted in the conduct of hearing changes, where we talked about how we go in order. And so that has been placed. We are also, for the rest of it, down to the last page, under Article 6, is the board members of the board are recorded as either present or absent, and then the grammatical change under Section 2. So very few substantial changes, but we wanted to directly connect to Ordinance 2024-1926 and 2025-1958. If you did not get copies of those in any of the times that we have been switching notes on these back and forth, please let our office know, and we'll put together that for you along with the state code and these rules of procedure. This is what we will use going forward if you accept it, with the changes for guidance on meetings, membership, and the like. Now the membership of the board is always, as always has been, appointed by individual members or appointed by the members of the council. The change that came about last year when the board was reclassified and reformatted is that it went from each district having their own member to having the at-large members and 2 members of the professional organization. Took it from 7 to 5 members, and has made the setup that you have now. And I'm open for any questions.
I have one quick question on.
Yes, sir.
It might just be a grammatical.
Could absolutely be a grammatical error.
Article 3, Section 5, the last sentence reads, a continuance or deferral will be heard at the next regularly scheduled meeting, and one, only one. Should that read
You're
one
right.
and only one?
Yes,
Such deferral? Okay.
yes. So thank you for that. If you make that edit part of your motion, or if someone will make that edit part of the motion, then we can make that change and give you back a clocked copy. Or not clocked, but a full copy.
Do we do that now?
Whenever you're ready to make a motion. I don't know if there's any other questions from the rest of the board.
I would like to make a motion to edit the last sentence of Article 3, Section 5 to read as a continuance of or deferral will be heard at the next regularly scheduled meeting, and one and only one such deferral or continuance will be allowed.
Thank you. He made it in the motion of an edit. At this point, you can take that on and settle it before the final motion.
Let's do that. You made the motion, I'll second. All in favor?
Thank you.
Make that change, please.
You have not yet made a vote on the whole document, so if there are any other questions, we're open to them.
In Section 3, under voting,
Yes, sir.
I would just want to commend the fact that a member must be present to vote is in there. That makes a lot of difference.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Anything further, Jim? I did not find anything other than, in fact, I didn't see yours.
The more eyes, the better the document.
But if we have no other changes to present to Ms. Harden, then I would ask for a motion to adopt this as written with the one change that was made by Mr. Pender.
I make a motion to adopt the Board of Zoning Appeals rules and procedures as amended.
Okay? I have a motion
Second?
and a second. All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you, Ms. Harden. And I will sign off on this. At your pleasure, young lady. You can let me know.
My only other item is we have one case that's been submitted to be heard next month, so we will have a meeting. We have one variance.
Okay. And I've got a handful of these that I no longer will need, I hope. This draft will change to a permanent copy at some point.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Ms. Harden.
I apologize. It's under other news and administrative matters. May I make a statement?
Sure.
We are at the point in the UDO rewrite where we are going through the administrative processes section. We have 4 chapters to go through, and we will be having 2 large stakeholder meetings this month, one on July 16th and one on July 30th. You will get an invitation to attend. You'll also get the meeting materials because this section directly impacts and need your input in case that you have questions about the process, the procedures, or the applications. That will go out either this week or the beginning of next week, but I wanted to give you a heads up. It will be a midday meeting. We will provide food for lunch, and there'll be a great many people invited. Our last few have had about 12 to 16 people attend, so it's a good opportunity as well. Both of those days are Wednesdays, and they'll start around 12 o'clock. But you'll get the full details when the email goes out.
What are those dates again?
16th and 30th.
I can make the 16th, but I won't make the 30th.
Okay.
I've got a heart doctor appointment in Monroe that day,
Thank you.
and eye surgery the day before. All right, gentlemen, do we have anything else? Ms. Williams? Ms. Bryan? And thank you so much for all you do. You are a blessing to this entire organization on this up floor 7 or 3 or 2 or whatever it might be. You are Our Lady.
Just to keep everybody in the loop, we are, and April may have mentioned this to you, we are interviewing right now for the administrative assistant position. We should have a decision and a new hire by the end of July. So you may see me training someone else in this position soon.
All right, that'll be an easy job for you because you do it so well. Thank you. Anything further? On before I could thank them for coming. Gentlemen, is there anything further? Ms. Williams? Ms. Brown? Ms. Harden? Then do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
We are adjourned. Make it that simple. And we thank you.